Hello, today is March 6, 2019 and time is 11:03 a.m. This video is inspired by a video that I watched by a Canadian YouTube channel called Press for Truth. Now, any channels that I've ever referenced doesn't imply that I agree with everything, all the content, but
police in Canada are tracking people's negative behavior in a risk database. Police, social services, and health workers in Canada are using shared databases to track the behavior of vulnerable people, including minors and people experiencing homelessness, with little oversight and often without consent. Documents obtained by Motherboard from Ontario's Ministry of Community Safety and Correctional Services through an Access to Information Act request show that at least two provinces, Ontario and Saskatchewan, maintain a risk-driven tracking database that is used to amass highly sensitive information about people's lives. Information in the database includes whether a person uses drugs, has been the victim of an assault, or lives in a, quote, negative neighborhood. The Risk-Driven Tracking Database, or RTD, is part of a collaborative approach to policing called the HUB model that partners cops, school staff, social workers, healthcare workers, and the provincial government. Information about people believed to be at risk of becoming criminals or victims of harm is shared between civilian agencies and police and is added to the database when a person is being evaluated for a rapid intervention intended to lower their risk levels. Interventions can range from a door knock and a chat to forced hospitalization or arrest. So this is, and as we've also shown, there are privacy concerns about how they target individuals. Let's not forget the fact that they often target these individuals and then use them in their plots, with these so-called foiled terror plots that we always see all the time. Another important video I released back in 2013, Conditioning Canadians for the War on Terror, where I show you how a lot of the times these people they're monitoring, the homeless population and people like that, they will actually set up and coerce and frame and try to turn them into de facto terrorists.
I do give credit when credit is due. Now, for many years now, I've been talking about CPIC, and I've shared articles from politicians to newspaper articles talking about CPIC being broken and information being on CPIC. Most of the time, people don't even know there's information about them, and this really impacts people's lives. And sometimes people have no idea what's going on. And I've shared examples in my videos where information has been, for example, misunderstood and being used against me, unless or until the file has been, I guess, requested by a police agency or someone, the assumption is made. So there's inaccurate, false information, all sorts of information on CPIC. And this Press for Truth video talks about how the police are profiling people for pre-crime. Now, this parallels the movie The Minority Report. And the idea with that movie was how I forget, I think they were like psychics or something, were determining crimes before they happened, and then these people were arrested and whatever before any crime was ever committed. Now, what's interesting about that movie, and spoiler alert if anyone hasn't seen it, at the end it showed how flawed that is. Now, Press for Truth has shown how they're starting to profile certain demographics of people in society and stuff with pre-crime. So, and he also talks about how this pre-crime crime, people who are targeted with that, they're being set up, and the potential to be set up to for a crime, creating something out of nothing. Now, does that sound familiar? And they create situations in people's lives as a result, and then they say, well, see, we were right. You know, whether it be someone's economic status or their mental health with trauma and everything, they say, well, yep, see, that person's crazy. And they start to create this false narrative about someone, and then it's very easy to, and they create a history. And then they can sell that history to the public, saying, see, well, you know, this person has an extensive history, they're violent, they can't be believed, anything that they say, they're poor, whatever. They create that, they can sell that to the public, and then the individual is that they've targeted is, they're done. You know, they become the scapegoat. They become the patsy. They're the ones that have things pinned to them, that, and then we get into wrongful convictions and everything. It all ties in together. And I'm going to relate this to my own personal story. Now, in his video, he talks about, for example, homeless people, poor people, stuff like that. And looking back, I fit that demographic of a possible threat, and they tried to create some behavior. And they're basing information on assumptions, all speculation. And they try to project whatever it is that they want to project. And the problem is when they cherry pick information to fit their narrative, and then people become targeted by the system because, well, they're a possible threat. And that could relate to anything. And this is based on the pseudoscience of psychology. And this is one example where this belief system is very harmful to society.
Everything else the pseudo-patient said was true. Significant events in their life were described exactly as they'd been.
And then what happened? They got all diagnosed as insane and admitted to the hospital.
And this person is starting to picture how it could have happened. And what could have been turns into what would have been, turns into what was. I was incredibly surprised at the rate that I had in terms of successfully implanting these false memories.
And this is all based on the crime prevention myth.
What does a predator do? They kill. Only a killer can hunt a killer.
And the definition of what a crime is no longer defined. Where we have, for example, government officials relying on two people experiencing the same event with their own interpretations. And yet, people are being convicted based on one perception.
It's not just one side of the story that matters. That the same interactions could be experienced very differently.
And that the Prime Minister had spent so much time with could interpret the request being the move in such a dark light.
Now, in my particular case, I've shared an example of how someone within the local police here had profiled me based on information by the former officer. And I'm still extremely disturbed by it because it just simply escalates things beyond the twilight zone from my perspective. And this individual, and they know who they are, should quit. They should resign. Because they made a professional opinion, an uninformed conclusion based on speculation. And they're very clear that they made a professional opinion. Even if this individual relies on, well, I was basing this on the information given to me, it shows that this person is willing and has made uninformed conclusions and attached their professional status to it, which is wrong. Now, the problem with stuff like this is it just snowballs, because another person is going to read that report, and they're all going to support each other, cherry picking, even fabricating information to pursue whatever it is that, you know, their objective is. So when you look at what Press for Truth has uncovered here in Canada, focusing on 2 provinces, and this is province-wide, guaranteed. And not only that, but he talks about how this has gone to the international level because everything is linked. It's devastating. So I recommend, you watch that video, and yeah, it's scary. We live in scary times. It's not exciting times, and definitely nothing good's going to come from it. Anyway, I just thought I'd share this. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.